Tensions in the Middle East may be easing, at least for now. In a significant development, U.S. President Donald Trump has announced a temporary pause on planned military strikes against Iran, signaling a possible window for de-escalation after days of heightened confrontation. According to Trump, Washington will hold off on launching attacks for the next 5 days. The decision follows what he described as very good and productive conversations with Tehran over the past 48 hours, raising cautious hopes for a diplomatic breakthrough. In a post shared on Truth Social, Trump said the goal of these discussions is nothing short of a complete and total resolution of the ongoing hostilities in the region. He added that based on the tenor and tone of the talks, he has directed U.S. defense officials to postpone any immediate strikes, particularly those targeting Iranian power plants and critical energy infrastructure. But this pause comes with conditions. The 5-day window is not a ceasefire, it is a test of progress. Negotiations are expected to continue throughout the week, and any failure to move forward could quickly bring military options back into play. The announcement comes just ahead of a looming deadline. Trump had earlier warned that the United States would strike Iranian power facilities if Tehran failed to reopen the strategically vital Strait of Hormuz, a key global shipping corridor. The Strait of Hormuz is one of the most important and naft transit routes in the world, carrying nearly 20% of global oil and liquefied natural gas supplies. Any disruption here has immediate consequences for the global economy. And disruption is exactly what the world is witnessing. Since the conflict began, traffic through the strait has dropped dramatically. What was once a busy maritime highway is now nearly at a standstill, with only about 5% of its usual vessel traffic managing to pass through. Iran, however, has shown no signs of backing down. Tehran has responded with defiance, warning that it could deploy naval mines in the Gulf and expand its list of potential targets. In a striking move, Iranian officials have even released maps identifying energy infrastructure across the region as possible strike points. These include major facilities in Israel, as well as in Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, and Kuwait. The message from Tehran is clear. Any escalation will not remain contained. Despite this, Trump's latest move suggests a shift in approach. Just last week, he had indicated little interest in pursuing a ceasefire. Now, with diplomacy underway, the tone appears to be changing, though uncertainty still looms large.
A global oil lifeline is now at the center of a dangerous escalation. Iran has imposed a staggering $2 million fee on vessels crossing the Strait of Hormuz. This is not just a toll, this is a message to the world. The Strait of Hormuz is one of the most critical shipping routes on the planet. Nearly 1/5 of the world's oil supply flows through this narrow corridor. Now, Iran is tightening its grip on this strategic choke point. According to Iranian lawmaker Alaeddin Bourujudi, this marks a shift in power, a new sovereign regime in the strait where Iran dictates the rules, a move that signals authority and control. The $2 million charge is already in effect on select vessels. Iran says war comes at a cost, and now the world's shipping industry is being made to pay it. The implications are massive. Shipping costs could surge, oil prices could spike, and global supply chains could face serious disruption. But this is not just economics. This is leverage in a rapidly escalating conflict, a signal that the battlefield is expanding. Donald Trump has issued a stark ultimatum. Open the Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours or face consequences. The target? Iran's power infrastructure. The warning is direct. Major power plants could be destroyed, starting with the biggest first. That threat has sent shockwaves across the region, but Iran is not backing down. Instead, it is raising the stakes. Tehran warns the strait could be completely closed if attacked, a move that would send global oil markets into chaos and disrupt one of the world's most vital trade arteries. Oil prices could surge overnight. Shipping routes could collapse. The global economy could feel the shock within days. Iran's leadership has made its position clear. The strait is open, but not for its adversaries. Access is now conditional. And the warnings do not stop there. Iran says Israeli energy infrastructure is within reach and could be destroyed within a day. This is no longer just rhetoric. This is escalation with real-world consequences. A confrontation edging closer to a tipping point. On the ground, tanker traffic is already slowing. Uncertainty and threats are forcing vessels to hesitate. The world's busiest oil route is under pressure. For markets, the uncertainty is alarming. For governments, the risks are rising. For the region, the danger is becoming real. The Strait of Hormuz has always been a flashpoint, but now it is a battlefield of power, of pressure, and of control. Iran's $2 million toll is not just policy, it is strategy, a calculated move in a high-stakes geopolitical game. And now, the world is watching, because if the strait closes, the consequences will not stay here. They will ripple across the globe. A massive escalation warning from Iran. The country's armed forces are now threatening serious consequences if the United States targets its power plants. Iran has made it clear any strike on its energy infrastructure will trigger a sweeping and immediate response across the region. Top among those threats, the complete closure of the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most critical oil shipping routes. Iran says the strait will remain shut until any damaged power plants are fully rebuilt, signaling a potentially prolonged disruption to global oil supplies. Tehran has also warned that all Israeli energy infrastructure will become direct targets if the United States follows through on its threat. In a further escalation, Iran says power plants in countries hosting U.S. military bases across the region could also be considered legitimate targets. The warnings come after U.S. President Donald Trump said Washington would obliterate Iran's power plants if Tehran does not reopen the Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours. Iran has already tightened control over the strait, with shipping activity disrupted amid ongoing missile and drone attacks linked to the widening conflict. With threats now directly targeting global energy routes and infrastructure, the confrontation is rapidly expanding beyond the battlefield, raising fears of a full-scale regional and economic crisis.